Hi, this is Tim Fiddler, and this is a short, brief case analysis on the IHOP campaign of 2018, where they changed their name to IHOb. So, some of the campaign goals that IHOP had were to increase awareness and sales, specifically outside their breakfast menu or the breakfast market that they're widely known for. Their breakfast accounts for 50% of their total sales. Their dinner market accounts for only 16% of their sales. Another part of their campaign goals was to increase the to-go orders. At the end of 2017, they rolled out an initiative to increase to-go orders, along with some online ordering capabilities. There was not very much the awareness for this ability for the online and to-go orders was very low. So that was another part of this campaign goals, was to increase the awareness of that. Through that, they were trying to think of what menu item would be conducive to-go orders, something that they should target. And the senior management leadership decided that cheeseburgers or burgers were very conducive or to-go friendly, and so that's why they decided to target burgers of all the items on their dinner menu. So that kind of was the background story of why they went with burgers for this campaign. So they started the campaign with a teaser, so to speak. They threw out on social media, on Twitter and Facebook, a hint that they were going to be changing their name to IHOb. They did not specify what the B stood for, just that the name was going to be changing. What this did was, with the secrecy around what the B would stand for, of course it sparked curiosity, created buzz. Then along those lines, before they announced what the B would stand for, they incorporated some like a type of game. They encouraged consumers and the public on social media platforms, namely Twitter, to post what they thought the B would stand for, and just tried to generate activity that way. About 2-3 weeks, a couple weeks after the announcement, then they finally disclosed details about what the B stood for, details about the campaign, the name change. From there was a lot of reactions, positive and negative, to the campaign, the name change, it being burgers, also reactions to it being temporary versus permanent, because none of that was disclosed up front, not until afterwards. So there was reactions from both consumers, customers, also competition. There was reactions from people outside of the food industry, like Netflix, that got involved, also some celebrities that got involved. So it ended up having quite a big reach, and made its way into pop culture in the summer of 2018. So some of the details along the analytics or metrics, along with the social media side of it, it generated 1.2 million tweets about either the IHOP brand and or burgers, the IHOP line of burgers that they were focused on. 2.1 million social media conversations. This is through either Twitter, Facebook, any of the social media platforms, but conversations around it. So driving awareness. Also 25,000 different stories through any of the online publications or periodicals. And then also 41 billion earned impressions. Lastly, on here, I have 100 plus brands and celebrities join the conversation. Most of those brands were competitors in the food industry, but not all. And like I mentioned earlier, there was people outside the food industry like Netflix and some others that got involved. So the reach ended up getting outside of just specific food industry and competitors. It spread out and permeated into pop culture and crossed all borders to where it was a hot topic. Platforms, the two main platforms were Twitter and Facebook that were used for this campaign. Right now, currently, IHOP has 387,000 followers on Twitter and 3.6 million followers on Facebook. Just to put into perspective, I guess, some of the results from the campaign. 10 days into the campaign, there was 1.2 million tweets. That's compared to all of 2017, so the year before the campaign, there was only 20,000 tweets related to IHOP. So this short campaign that lasted 4 to 6 weeks, roughly, it generated quite an increase in awareness, activity, everything around the company and what they were trying to do. IHOP was also tracking what they called word of mouth score, and they saw word of mouth as the number of people who talked about the restaurant chain with their friends and or family through different social media platforms. They used a company called YouGov, and through their analysis, they saw an increase of 11% in this activity. So from 19%, it grew to 30% during this campaign. So IHOP in several articles that I read saw word of mouth as still one of the most important ways in restaurant and their industry to publicize and to get information out, increase awareness, and so they saw that as an important piece to the puzzle. So they were tracking that, and then also IHOP estimated that their potential reach just through this campaign alone was 4 billion people. So in this campaign, they initially came out and said that the name was changing, but they didn't give details. So nobody knew if it was temporary, permanent. In that, a lot of people that grew up going to IHOP had fond memories of IHOP, were quick to voice their opinion. IHOP is, as of last year, IHOP celebrated their 60th anniversary or 60th birthday. So as you can imagine, being around for 60 years, there is a lot of people in the United States that have been to an IHOP, grew up going to an IHOP, have fond memories of an IHOP. And so the idea of a corporation changing that from the name that they grew up, International House of Pancakes, that then now is IHOP, they just saw that as another way of taking away something that they held dear, had fond memories of, something that, with their memories, it was something they were holding on to. It was safety, stability, and so they were quick to voice their opinion of a lot of disapproval in the name, but also just wanting to voice their opinion just so everyone in IHOP management knew what the public opinion was. The positive thing was that it was a temporary change, so everything ended up working out. But we'll touch on some of what could have been done better because of that. So additional sales were generated from this campaign. I found that the sales of their dinner menu, and namely cheeseburgers, quadrupled So initial sales for the products that they were targeting increased 4 times. The to-go traffic grew 23%. To-go sales grew 32%. They had orders. They had 500,000 burgers a week that they had orders on, and then also they had some sustained growth. It wasn't just growth during, the 4 to 6 week period. This period occurred. This campaign occurred in June and July of 2018. Sales through IHOP, they reported through the end of Q3 last year, which is the end of September, that their sales were up 1.2%. So there was a sustained growth through the following quarter. So what worked and what didn't with this campaign? I believe what worked was the timing, that they were able to generate buzz, get brand awareness. Honestly, it didn't seem like last summer, in the summer of 2018, that there was a lot of other big news to overshadow this campaign. So it just spread like wildfire. Like I mentioned earlier, it really got into pop culture and spread outside of just the food industry. Competitor interaction. The competitors being very active on social media to throw out digs or make comments about IHOP's campaign really fueled the conversation and helped the campaign go viral. Burger King was probably the biggest, with some of their witty posts that were really digs at IHOP, but it just fueled the interest. People liked or retweeted, shared what the posts were, and it just helped spread the awareness for IHOP. What didn't work, mentioned earlier on the brand sentiment, some of the backlash from people thinking that the name change was going to be permanent. I think if they would have been proactive and just from the get-go let everybody know that this is just temporary. They didn't have to mention maybe what the B was, and they could still benefit off that piece, but without telling people that it was temporary, created some negative perceptions, negative feelings in some consumers at the beginning. I see the most important takeaway in this interaction. Through social media, interaction is key. They incorporated a sort of game to engage people by getting them to post what they thought the B would stand for. It got people involved. This engagement, I see just through my personal experience, that when you get consumers or people engaged in things, they become personally invested. So that way they're putting their time, their energy. Once the campaign does run its course, they're more likely to either follow through, go to IHOP, go check it out, spread the word, something, instead of it just disappearing and moving on to the next thing. So I think the best thing that they could have done was getting people engaged, and instead of just a commercial on TV, how they use social media, or just a post, but they got people involved. So the engagement, the interaction is key, and that's the most important takeaway that I came from this, that I want to incorporate in some of my future campaigns through social media. So a quick recap. Some of the goals, IHOP wanted to increase awareness and sales. As far as the awareness, 1.2 million tweets during the campaign versus only 20,000 tweets the entire year prior. And then sales following the campaign was up 1.2%. Increased dinner sales. Their burger sales were up 4 times or quadruple what they were before the campaign. And their orders went up to 500,000 burgers a week. And then lastly, the goal of increasing their to-go orders, or the